What about making your sound better?
We talked about layering basses, layering leads, and layering harmonies for pads. Now we're going to take a look into layering saw sounds. Saw sounds are essentially polysynths with a lot of stereo image, a lot of distortion, and a lot of high end. Essentially, what we want to do is keep a great portion of it in mono and the rest of it very, very wide. Now, it's a little tricky because we're talking about high frequencies and things can get messy real quick. So what I want to do is start with a sound that gives me enough distortion and enough high end, although it keeps a lot of tone. So I can start in layering on top of that. For this purpose, I started with this sound from Serum. And I'm going to start adding more synths on top of that to enrich. And I'm going to start adding more synths on top of that. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this channel. So as you can see, I changed the melody quite a bit for the purpose of the saw sounds. It's a little different part where the claps usually go in and it's more pumping. The previous harmonies used to play sustain notes. Now I made a little bit of a pumping effect. So let's go ahead and start looking for a second sound to layer on top of our first synth. I'm going to start browsing through my lead synth sounds, and I want to find something that is going to cut through the mid-range. That sounds good for now. I'm just going to take off the reverb from it and the delay again, because I want a raw sound to compress with the rest of them, and I'm going to add the FX back in later. I also dropped the gain here around 13 decibels. We have to keep that in mind. I'm going to look for something airy to fill up the stereo image. So now I'm going to look for something really, really fat and distorted, similar to the first one, but bigger in the stereo and in the spectrum. Just like this one. Now let me get rid of the delay and reverb again. And let me start building the sound a little bit. This is going to be my top synth. This is going to be the support of the top synth. And this is going to be the edgy sound. Now I'm going to start mixing them a little bit to the levels that I'm going for. And now I'm going to start looking for a synth with a little bit of a glide to glue those things together and make the melody stand out a little bit more. Something like that. And I'm going to keep the FX on this one. I'm just going to go ahead and tweak this a little bit by clicking the always button. So notes are going to start sliding to one another. Now I'm going to decrease the portamento because the slide is a little bit too much. And those are my previous synths that we just placed. And this is going to go on top of it as sitting right in the center as a mono lead. So I mixed it like that for now, and I'm going to go ahead and start processing each layer. So I think I'm going to keep the noise from the first synth. So the first synth is going to get an equalizer for the very, very low end frequencies that we really don't need at the time. So I'm going to add a low cut on this one. Just a simple low cut. And then for the second lead, I'm going to go again with a low cut and a high cut as well. The trick here is to make sure that you don't have unnecessary overlapping frequencies, and the ones that you overlap are actually planned to fit together. I'm also going to give it a little boost at around 1000 hertz. And a little bit of a dip at around the 400 range before the EQ and after. This is just an EQ to complement the first synth that has a little bit of a curve like that already. I'm going to add in my third sound. Now this one is going to work in the lower mid frequency range. So I'm just going to start adding a little bit of a bell. So it just stands out a little bit more in the mix. And I'm also going to give a little bit of a boost right here. I'm going to make sure that I cut the very high frequencies that I don't need. And I'm going to do the same for the low end frequencies that I don't need. Now this is my mono lid. For the EQ, I'm good for now. I'm just going to add a little bit of a compressor. I'm going to decrease the attack and increase the ratio a little bit to around 7:1. This is to keep it more consistent in the mix with the rest of the three synths. Now, I'm also going to add the multiband that I added on the synths before. I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste it and start adjusting the amount knob. That's right about it. Now let's start mixing those sounds together. I just added them in a groups to start processing them all together. Now I'm going to add a little bit of a compressor on the whole channel, and I'm going to open the attack a little bit now, and the range is and the ratio is fine for now. And I just want to get the peaks from that. A little bit of trying to glue those things together. Now I'm going to choose my second synth. And I'm going to open up the reverb from the serum. You know, it's a good thing to keep your reverb sharp as tight as you can and not mix a lot of reverbs in it. And I opened up the pre-delay quite a bit to give a little bit more emphasis on the room sound. I'm going to finally adjust it to around 190. Then I'm going to play with a mix knob. I'm going to play the whole group together. And again, I'm going to take the multiband compressor that we used before and add it on the group and start adjusting the amount knob. And this is how we layered the saws together.